the fresh clashes, the fresh violence that we're witnessing in Manipur. And mind you, this is significant because this is happening on the first day itself of the Free Movement Initiative. Now, tensions have flared once again in the hilly state as the government's Free Movement Initiative, it faced its first major test. Now, what was meant to be a step towards restoring normalcy has in fact and instead triggered violent clashes, stone pelting, and even a fatality is what we're picking up. Yesterday was day one of the initiative. A group tried to block the movement of a bus carrying Meitei passengers through a Kuki-Zo-dominated Kangpokpi district, leading to confrontations with security forces. And in the ensuing violence that we saw yesterday, one protester was killed, several, including security personnel, were injured, and multiple vehicles were touched. Essentially, the security forces vehicle that was set ablaze. Now, the conflict highlights the deep mistrust and unresolved tensions in the state, with community groups taking up opposing stands on this particular policy of free movement. And was this an inevitable fallout or a failure in execution? What does this mean for peace efforts in the region? Well, to break down this particular situation and its implications, we're going to be joined by P.K. Mishra, former ADG, the BSF. He's going to be with us on the broadcast. I'm being told he's already with us on the broadcast. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Sir, yesterday was day one. We saw those clashes. You know, one really has to understand, even before the opinion pieces start trickling in, we're so far away from that hilly state. Needless to say, the Ministry of Home Affairs wanted to build and do some confidence building measures, which is why free movement and the entire initiative has to be taken in a very positive light. One has to understand why are the cookies opposing this particular movement, and how are you looking at these developments? I mean, fresh violence in Manipur.
Kabir, I can well tell you, we have clearly stated what all happened yesterday. We had one killing and about 40 injured, including security forces. More than 20 they were injured, and one security force vehicle was completely it was set into fire. We lost a lot of vehicles, and in fact the vehicle which was carrying two passengers, two Meiteis, that was also vandalized. And a lot of, in fact, there was firing on security forces from the militants. It happened at Kangpokpi and Torbuk. I can well tell you, it was the first day, and there were two buses. One was going towards Senapati via Kangpokpi, the other was going via from Imphal to Bishnupur and then to Churachandpur. That bus reached safe at Churachandpur and returned, but the one which went to Kangpokpi at Senapati, in fact, the cookies they had earlier planned, and most of the ladies, cookie ladies, they come to the they came on the road, and in fact they started pelting stores, and a few of the miscreants they joined and fired at security forces. This shows that a militant group, they do not want peace in this state. And in fact, it's the first day when Amit Shah declared that yes, on 8th we will be starting free movement of Meiteis and Kukis and Nagas and Kongals and whatnot, wherever they want to go. But on the axis of Dimapur, it failed. It failed very miserably. And I can well tell you that today again, all the Kotu groups and Kuki-Zo groups, they have declared that indefinite strike will continue on Dimapur Road, Kangpokpi Road, and Jiribam Road, and also Churachandpur Road, and also in Tignopal and More and Chandel Road. They are blocking it today indefinitely. This shows that a group they do not want. They are vehemently protesting for union separate duty and separate administration, which Mr. Amit Shah yesterday, our Home Minister, he has categorically denied that he will not agree for any separate administration for cookies in that area. But I can well tell you, the peace will come slow, and whatever it has happened yesterday, it has happened. The buses must run. We have to open this Jiribam route and the More route, Churachandpur route, and also for Dimapur road. There is no doubt about that, and we should continue with army protection, with paramilitary protection, and those who are involved, they must be apprehended. And just see, a lot of weapons were also recovered yesterday at Sekmai. So now counter-insurgency operations has continued very vigorously, and I'm very sure all the security forces, they will do their best. You see, I salute to those security forces yesterday at Kangpokpi and Torbung, where they showed a lot of restraint. They were fired at and their vehicles were burnt, but yet they didn't open fire more, and it's just one casualty was there. Of course, a lot of security forces, they were injured. It is fine, but we have to see that peace will come slow, and the dialogue and peace process must continue
You're
between.
absolutely right, sir. You're absolutely right, because like you pointed out, peace comes slow, and not just comes slow.
Yeah,
I mean, a peaceful revolution of sorts also, it's like a tree.
absolutely.
It's a very gradual process. We must have faith in the process. For the longest time before the president's rule, sir, people were saying there are no confidence building measures that have been
Yeah.
placed. Now that we have one, I just don't understand, my limited opinion on this particular conflict. I just don't understand why people are opposing such a good measure. I mean, it restores access to road and highway. What better first step after a president's rule?
Kabir, you are absolutely correct. It is not that the cookies they are demanding. It is what the militants and criminals they are demanding. They have totally, they are powerful with a lot of weapons which have come. Some of them were, they were looted from Arbery, but maximum of it came from Myanmar. With that of drugs coming, the money coming, and the weapons coming from Myanmar, they are thickened, and they have the audacity to fire on security forces, and that will not be tolerated. As Mr. Amit Shah and our governor of Manipur has stated, we must go all out. It has happened in 2002, 2003 also. I was there when as DIG Manipur. We continued this vehicle movement to Churachandpur and More and Churachandpur, More and Dimapur with force, and the convoy must run. The peace must come back, and dialogue should continue. But all these persons, militants, those who are having weapons, we have to be very strict on them. They have to be apprehended. Earlier, I was telling in your channel, why not, Jogi model to come to Manipur? Nothing bad. Anybody who is having weapon, the Jogi model should come. We have to be very strict on that. That is what governor has also told, that we should not leave anybody who is having weapons, who is firing at us on security forces. And Kangpokpi area, we have to have deployment on both the sides of the road earlier, as we were doing it on the hilltops where they were having bunkers. 15 bunkers were removed by security forces. What do you mean by bunkers? You are constructing bunkers to fight, to fire on road and fire on Meiteis. It is obnoxious. And no such bunkers will be allowed to be constructed by the side of the road, and we must cover up all the hilltops and ensure the vehicles must pass, the Meiteis must go wherever they like, and the Kukis must go in also plain area in Imphal East and Imphal West. Nothing should happen. We should give them the security, and then only the peace will come. But those 60,000 people who were displaced, first of all, we have to look into that. That is what governor is doing and chief secretary is doing. Those displaced persons are being looked after very seriously, and they have been asked that they will get all the help from the government. And
Right.
the first and foremost thing, law and order and security has to be protected in Manipur, for which the whole security scenario should change. We must go out for counter-insurgency operation. We should go out for fencing of the border. We should go out for a deployment of a border guarding force in Myanmar-Manipur border. There is no alternative. We have to do that so that the weapons cannot come, the drones cannot come. The
You're
drones
absolutely
are
right, sir. You're absolutely right. And, Mishra sir, at this point in time, we're also learning about the area domination drills.
Yeah.
So many of those weapons that have been recovered, very, news that is, of course, in good light. I'm looking at day 2 now. We saw the
Yeah.
buses meeting that resistance and the ensuing chaos that we soon learnt of. How do you think day 2 is now going to pan out? What should be some of the key points that the security forces need to keep in mind? What are you expecting? If I could, stick my limb out and say good sense will prevail today.
Kabir, I can well tell you, today the miscreants and the militants of the Kuki-Zo-Chin, I'm not telling about this community, I'm telling about the Kuki-Zo-Chin militants have expressed their anger that they will block the roads in all the axis, Chorachandpur axis, Tignopal More axis, Jiribam axis, and this axis. Here am thinking that on day 2, we have to see who are blocking it. All those blockades should be removed from the road, and we have to have more deployment of forces both the sides of the road and plan it properly so that when the convoy goes 2 kilometers ahead of convoy, 2 kilometers from the rear of the convoy, and 1 kilometer each from left and right side of the convoy, as we were doing it from Jammu to Srinagar. And earlier also we were doing it on Dimapur Road. The same thing should continue. We have enough forces, more than 80,000 forces in Manipur. I hope the security advisor can deploy it properly so that all the vehicles can pass. And we should ask the Kukis and Meiteis not to worry in availing this bus service to all these places, and particularly the Kukis, if they want to come and avail the opportunity of this airport at Manipur in Imphal, they are not coming. They should be given security for coming to Imphal airport and take the flights wherever they require. What is wrong in that? They are Manipuri. First of all, the sense of one nation and from Manipuri had to be taught to them, and peace to restore. And we must have to, all these national highways, we have to absolutely dominate it with security apparatus and block the road. I mean, block the border. That's the Myanmar border.
Pertinent point. Pertinent point that you've raised over there.
And the fencing should
Mishra
go
sir.
ahead. Fencing should go ahead.
You're absolutely right. And I think that's the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Home Minister's main focal point as well, that fencing has to be completed as well. That's the main focus of the MHA when we're talking about the free movement initiative. And this initiative, the free movement initiative, it was meant to bridge these divides. But the violence in Kangpokpi, it does raise serious questions. Can peace be enforced, or does the government need to rethink its approach? It is the right initiative, but day one saw that kind of clash. Mishra sir here on the broadcast helping us out with the insightful inputs that one needs to understand the sensitive situation that prevails in Manipur at this point in time. The road ahead does remain uncertain, but it's important that confidence building measures, just like the free movement trade, they continue on. We're going to continue to track developments in Manipur on this particular front.